Do, do, do. 15, 16. Welcome to the live 40 seconds in. Ba, 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 ba. One minute. I've been live for 1 minute. Angie Lee, good morning. Ag. Damn it. I didn't bring my glasses with me. Colleen Ellis, good morning. Welcome to the stream to both of you. Short and nice, good morning. I hope you all had a terrific week. I'm getting a heck of a glare off of the camera here. You can see the shadow off the glass there. Yeah, I can't move it now. I'd have to move the camera and the tripod and everything else. I thought it was right, but apparently I was wrong. But I hope you all had a terrific week. Well, look, I may have just gotten notifications that I'm live. Let's see. Yes, I'm live. 2 minutes into the stream, and YouTube has decided that right now would be the perfect time to tell me that I'm live. Dirty Laundry. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Good morning, Dirty Laundry. Gooby, Connie Kelly, K-Love, good morning. I'll be in about 5 minutes. All right, K-Love. Well, out to all of you, good morning, and I hope you had a terrific week. Hope you have an even better weekend. Get my notes out here, and we'll do the news updates. These are cases that I'm doing the updates on that I've reported on. Maybe you've seen the videos, maybe you haven't. Some of these videos only go out to Patreon members. Some go out to channel members only, and the rest of them are to the general public. But they're updates on cases that I've done in the last 30 days. But today we only have 2 because both of them are pretty long. I'm going to try to keep them as short as possible. Debbie Gilligan, good morning. I got a notification in about a minute before you. Well, that's really nice of them. But at least their YouTube is trying, right? Yeah, I actually subscribed to my own channel underneath one of my other accounts just so I can try to get notifications to see how often they actually work. And unfortunately, they don't work a lot. So what I'm going to do is I was talking over this with my wife and my daughter, who helped me run all these different channels. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to post in the community tab each week exactly when I'm going to have each and every one of my videos and when my live streams are. So you can just go to the community tab and go, okay, he's going to have a video at 10 o'clock on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week, or in live stream Saturday and Sunday, but at what times they are. So you can just quickly check, kind of like a TV guide to when my content is going to be uploaded. Good morning, So-So. Mike. Conduct Kra, everyone. Good morning, Mike. Allah. Good morning, Allah Akbar. All right, everyone. So let's get into the news. So the first one that I wanted to do an update on is Alex Murdaugh, the now disgraced attorney. He resigned from his law firm, and that his great grandfather Peter actually was one of the co-founders of. In case you're not sure who Alex is, besides that, Alex Murdaugh is the father of now deceased 22-year-old Paul Murdaugh, and you might pronounce it Murdaugh or Murdaugh. I really don't care. How the world pronounces it differently. Some people pronounce the AU in there, and the G is silent to them, and other people don't. But anyway, his son Paul had gotten into a boating accident while he was boating under the influence of alcohol. And he hit a pylon near a bridge, and it ended up costing the life of a dear friend of his. Now, because of their influence and money and everything else, they were able to kind of get it pushed off down the road. And because the rich get away with a lot more than the average folk. But his son Paul, who was age 22 at the time, along with his wife Maggie, were found shot and killed, murdered, there at their, I guess their second home, or you call it resort home or hunting cabin. The media, they play it up as different things, hunting, vacation home, whatever. But they were found both shot to death at close range by a rifle. They're not actually releasing the caliber or type of weapon they believe was involved, but that's where the story, that's how it came into the mainstream media. Now, Alex, again, was an attorney, and he still is an attorney. He still has his license to practice law, but he resigned from his law firm because he has an issue that he has tried to keep under wraps for a while, and regarding an opioid addiction along with drinking. Now, he resigned after a bunch of money actually came missing, and we're not talking a small amount of money here. We're talking millions of dollars from the law firm turned up missing. And it was discovered through a forensic examination of the books. And so he resigned from there. And the following day, or that day, it all depends on how you really look at it. They have a date they say that he resigned and a date that he actually left. And then subsequently following, he was driving home, and the tire sensor light in his car came on that said that the front tire was low. And so tire TPS sensor said that his tire was low. So he pulled over to the side of the road to check on the actual tire. At that point, after he pulled over and was examining the actual tire itself, a blue pickup truck pulled up alongside of him. The driver of that vehicle asked him if he needed assistance with the tire or if he needed help in general. Before or right around the time, this is kind of cloudy because his attorneys have put out a statement that contradicts the actual police department statement in a lot of ways. But then the police came back and redacted that and they actually corrected it. So it's kind of up in the air where the actual timeline is. But right around the time he was about to answer, or did answer the driver to if he needed assistance, he was shot in the back of the head. Now, I'm going to use this. Say this is the back of his head. The bolt wound came in the back of his head and it exited out just above the ear on that side of the head. So it was a through and through wound. The caliper, the police aren't saying what caliper it was, but initially they said in their police report that there were no obvious signs of injury when they actually had examined him later on. I don't know how that's possible, because if you look at the medical report that was released from the actual doctor's office, and by the way, how he got from the actual scene where he was shot to the hospital, he wasn't taken by an ambulance. A good Samaritan helped him get into their car and then took him to the hospital. So, but it was a through and through, and it actually fractured his skull, according to the report. And he had to get stitches on both entry and exit, for the bullet itself. Now, did he do it himself? It would have been really hard for him to have done it. I mean, I guess he could have shot himself and then discarded the weapon somewhere nearby where his car was. But the police did not find a weapon. They did not find any powder marks on his vehicle or on him himself during examination. So it does not look like he actually shot himself. Because if you take the context of, like, his wife and his son had just been murdered, in June, and then you go forward in his addiction issues, and then the possible embezzlement from his own law firm, and and then having to resign. You could see how it could work out to, well, maybe he was trying to kill himself or self-injure himself, so people would take the attention and put it on that. So it does look like there's a possibility that there is somebody out there that is trying to kill off the entire Murdaugh family. Now, Paul did have one brother, and he's got an alibi for this actual shooting, and he has an alibi for the events where his mother and brother were killed. So, yeah, there has been a lot of speculation on the internet that, well, maybe it's that brother trying to kill everybody off so he can inherit the family fortune. Because again, these people there's the rich, and then there are the extreme rich, and they're right in between the rich and the extreme rich. They're very well connected, and they have a lot of money. So, but he was transported again to the hospital by a Good Samaritan. There are no pending charges for the possible embezzlement from the law firm. If they actually are able to prove that there was embezzlement, he does have insurance that would cover that. And then the sale of the actual law firm's assets would cover pretty much everything that is supposedly missing. At this point, I mean, the way the rich play the game, they're going to cover it and say, well, he just put the money in the wrong account, or this money went this way instead of this money coming in, because money disappears and then new money covers up that tracks. It's kind of like, how did Bernie Madoff make off with hundreds of millions of dollars that he embezzled from people in that pyramid scheme? Because he constantly had money coming in from new investors that covered the money that he had been spending from the old investors. But anyways, there's also no charges involved in leaving the scene of an accident, because there was no actual accident. And the reason why I bring up both of those, no charges are pending, is because I have seen a video that was made, and it's on YouTube. You can probably find it in short order, where the creator is actually speculating that he may be brought up on criminal charges for leaving the scene of an accident. Well, he pulled his car over to the side of the road, and sure, he wasn't there when the sheriff's department came and investigated, because he was at the hospital because he'd been shot in the head. And it wasn't like through the side and out the back. It was from the back going through the side. So it was through and through, but it did fracture his skull. And there's medical evidence to prove that he didn't. And they tested his hands for gun residue and everything else. So, of course, he caught him wearing gloves, but they probably tested the shirt that he was wearing as well. I don't know. That would be speculation on my part. All right. That's it for the Murdaugh case right now. Now we're moving on to Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Dumbell. So we had a hearing this past week where they sat down and a status hearing on Lori Vallow, if she has been made competent to stand trial. The state mental hospital determined that she is not able to aid in her own defense at this time, that she needs more time for restorative care. So the judge pushed out the restorative care for another 180 days. Now, that doesn't mean in 180, it's going to take 180 days before they actually, are going to address the issue again. The court between now and then will get periodical updates on Lori's treatment and where she is in her restorative care. If at any point in the next 180 days they are able to determine that she has been restored, she has received restorative care, and she's able to aid in her own defense, they will then have another status hearing. But at this point right now, for Lori Vallow, they've moved everything out for 180 days. Anything that may have been on the docket for weird, stupid motions that Mr. Means has filed on her behalf as her attorney, those things just will not happen. So anything you may have jotted down, like, for October or November, None of those are going to happen because you can't have status hearings if a continuance has been put into place because the client, the defendant is not able to aid in her own defense. Now, Mr. Means, we all know, is going to keep on filing stupid motions from here on out. We already know that. That's just a given because he's already trying to do it now. On top of that, he's going to ask for ridiculous amounts of money for aiding in her defense because he is not a private hire at this time. He is a public defender at this point. Okay, that's it for Lori. So 180 days that has been moved out. Next is Chad Dumbell. Chad Dumbell had a trial date set for November 8th at 9 a.m. There's also a status hearing for a change of venue that is on the calendar for October 6th. And he also, through Mr. Pryor, has filed a motion to sever his case from Lori Vallow. Basically, the honeymoon's over. He does not want to be tried with her on any charges at all, and he wants to separate the cases completely. If he can get his case moved halfway across the country from her, he would appreciate that. Or even within the state of Idaho, move it to Boise from where her case is being heard. Anywhere, just separate the hell out of it. Get me away from her, is what their motion is. Now they have also filed at this point a waiver to speedy trial. Now that means that it doesn't matter how long it takes from here on out, they've moved it out indefinitely until the state and the defense are both ready to proceed to actually have the trial. So the November 8th date that is on the calendar right now is not going to happen because the state and the defense have both noted that neither is ready to proceed with that actual trial date. So it's not just Mr. Pryor, it's the state of Idaho as well, and the prosecuting attorney's office. They're not ready for the November 8th date. The October 6th date is still in effect, and they will have a hearing on October 6th at 9 a.m. and that is for the change of venue. At that time, the court system there may hear arguments on the sever the two cases. They could hear it that day, or they could set at that time a date down the road to actually hear it. So again, if you got a whiteboard and you're trying to follow this, oh boy, good luck with you. But all right, so erase any dates that you have on the calendar except for October 6th at 9 a.m. Court TV will be broadcasting that actual day, and they've already set it on their TV calendar. So October 6th, Court TV will be there. So I don't know if anybody else will be broadcasting there or streaming it, through the, whatever. But I don't expect it to be a very long hearing. It may be as short as a half hour total hearing, unless they hear the motion to sever. If they hear that, the defense will have to show a motion, a reason why they need to sever this. So that's it for the Lori Vallow and Chad Dumbell case and for the Murdaugh case. And that is the only updates I have for this week for cases that I have reported on. Again, some of these cases I've reported on, for here the general public, others channel members, other Patreon only videos that I report on. So that's where we're at. Now, to the chat. All right, I have no idea where we are. Let's see. K-Love said she'd be back in 5 minutes. Debbie Gilligan, short, nice, good morning. If I didn't say so before. Lily Gem, good morning. Good morning, Lily Gem. I hope you had a wonderful week. Maybe the millions fell in the sofa cushions. Maybe, right? Good point, Mike. That's where I'd look, in the sofa. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Lily Gem. I appreciate it. For Little Man. Love, you do it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Kubi, I think they found a knife used to slash his tire. It could be wrong. I kind of think the entire thing, to me, with the Murdaugh case, I think it's it looks like a setup to me. If somebody was going to do a hit on him, he'd be driving down the road. The TPS sensor would come on. He'd pull over, and now you got somebody who's a sitting duck, and you can't run from it. I mean, if you look at Murdaugh, Alex Murdaugh, he doesn't look like somebody who would be a track and field star. So I highly doubt he can run very far, very fast. I'd say getting shot in the head is an adequate excuse for leaving the scene of an accident. I would think so too. But the video that I saw, Mike, the creator was definitely hinting at, without actually coming out and saying that there were charges that were going to be filed for, leaving the scene of an accident. And then I'm thinking to myself, there's no accident. There's no damage to the car at all. The blue truck that supposedly stopped and asked him vanished. Nobody knows where that person went. Could it have been that person or a passenger in that truck that actually shot him? I mean, there's a lot of people who are really upset over, how they used their money and influence to delay the trial and prosecution of Paul for what he did that night. So it could be, somebody who's attached to that's angry at him. It could be somebody, who didn't like, the way Paul, was getting by and kind of flippant towards the entire thing and didn't really seem to be taking the case seriously and the charges against him. Could be somebody who's just mad at Alex, and the family, and is trying to strike back against him. There's a lot of different possibilities for who could have shot him. Why is she in the mental hospital? Is it because she thinks she is a higher being? Excuse me, short and nice. Excuse me for coughing there. But she's in the state mental hospital because initially she made statements to Mr. Means that were kind of disturbing, and he wondered if she was mentally competent to move forward. He then reached out to the court, filed a motion to have her examined by the court. A forensic psychologist, or no, it wasn't a forensic psychologist. I can't remember what they actually called it. It's like someone who does an evaluation on mental health. And they then determined that through the court, and that person was then, they examined their, state looked at their notes and they said, yeah, she's nuts, or she's temporarily, insane, or whatever it may have been, the actual diagnosis. I don't remember right now, but that's what started the whole thing. So then they sent her off to the state mental hospital, and that's where she's been ever since. And I'm sure she would much rather be back in jail than being in that place. If you can go online and actually Google that the state mental hospital in Idaho and read some of the horror stories from past patients who've been there, it's not a very lovely place. It looks lovely from the outside, but very few patients ever get to go outside. Good morning, Smith Shoes. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, Smith Shoes. Jenny, good morning. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful week. Gayla Denson, good morning. Sarah Thomas, good morning. I hope you had a wonderful week as well. Robin Lane, good morning. Trying to find a place to live. Are you, Robin? Fingers crossed. Good luck. The housing market out there is insane right now. All over the place. No matter where you are in the U.S., it seems. Hey, Will. Starfire, good morning. Chat, good vibes. Good vibes. Good morning, Starfire. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful week. Eventful, but I'm hanging in there. Thanks for asking. I hope you've been well. Just keep on putting one foot in front of the other. Take it day by day if you have to, Cement Shoes. Matthew Burgess. Hi, been a while. Well, Matthew, welcome back. I hope you had a wonderful week. I'm glad you could join us this morning. Crime Online said they tied Alex Murdaugh's knife back to the slashes in the tires. Okay. I wasn't aware of that, Robin. I'm not doubting it. I just wasn't aware that they found it. I just know that the TPS sensor went off, according to the statement released by Alex's attorney, which is not that long of a statement. It's only about 3 paragraphs, but they wanted to dispute that the fact that the initial police report said that there were no obvious signs of injury. I don't know how you could have missed that, but of course they went back and redacted that. And changed it to obvious signs of injury, and they also changed what status of not using alcohol or drugs at time. They changed that to something. I can't remember how they worded it, but they said that they were unaware or something to that effect. I mean, if that's the police who are investigating, something like that with Alex, how much are they bumbling the investigation of the murder of his wife and his son? They can't even get a simple police report right. And that's the sheriff, though. Can't believe you have a Saturday off. Feeling weird. I've been there. I mean, I do this 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. Having a day off is kind of like, now what? What the hell do I do? Nah, she ain't getting a vacation from anything. She's gonna fry in hell for what she did, anyways. If she doesn't, I mean, the chances of her and Chad getting off on the charges that are at hand for the murder of JJ and Ty Lee, I'd put it at maybe 2.5% chance that they get off on it. There's so much evidence, and I'm sure that the state has more evidence than what we've seen out here in the general public. But I don't know how his kids are going to sit there and say that he is being framed. The text messages, the pings from the tower show that he was there burning debris. And we know that Ty Lee's body was in that debris in the fire. It wasn't at the bottom, it was towards the top. And you can see that limbs were on top of it. It's all in the forensic report. But his kids think that he was set up. Please. Where's the dead raccoon? There is no evidence of a dead raccoon anywhere in the pet cemetery that's out there. I mean, there's dogs, there's cats, out there, but there is no dead raccoon. Did he burn the raccoon? Well, if he did, where are the bones to the raccoon? They're nowhere. And why did he decide all upon himself to text Tammy and tell Tammy that he shot a raccoon and that he was going to clean up the yard then and there, when he seldom ever used the fire pit at all? And we're supposed to believe that 6 feet away was JJ wrapped up in plastic and duct tape, and he didn't know that he was there when there was a freshly dug hole that he didn't dig on his own property? That'd be the first thing. If I walked out in the backyard of my house and I saw a hole that had been freshly dug and the ground disturbed, clearly, obviously, it was a hole, and then a piece of plywood thrown over the top of it, I'd say to myself, first off, well, where the hell did that piece of plywood come from? Moving the plywood, putting it away, or propping it up against the building, I'd say, well, there's a giant hole that's been dug here. What the hell is there a hole here for? And it didn't take a rocket scientist to dig down that far, because JJ wasn't that deep into the ground. Then you find that and you're like, I think I might need to make a phone call to someone besides, people who believe in the bullshit that I've been feeding them through this, religious stuff. But yeah, and we're supposed to believe that he didn't know it and he was being set up. whatever. These kids are delusional. Puff, puff, pass. Sorry if I missed anybody. I'm trying to scroll through here. Jacqueline, good morning. Joshua, good morning. Welcome to the stream. I hope you both had a wonderful week. Is Chad turning on Lori, Gayla? At this point, that he hasn't done anything to actually say he's going to turn on her, but he definitely wants to sever his case because there's a lot of evidence against Lori, for a lot of the things that she's being charged with. That we know out here in the general public, we know a lot of the evidence. There's a lot of audio recordings, and people were willing to testify. Her family, well, her friend, Melanie Gibbs, she's going to willing to prosecute. She's going to be a witness for the state, and that's going to sink Lori. And if I was Chad, I'd probably want to separate my case from hers as well. Make them pick two juries, make them have to do the case twice, basically. I mean, it's a chess match. I'll move here and act like I'm going to move there, in the chess match, and they try to, block that. That's all it is. When it comes down to a court case, it's a big, giant chess match. So that's the best analogy for a court case. You trying to relax, Matthew? Nervous day for me? Why is it a nervous day for you? Prayers for you and your dad. I must have missed something, Matthew. I'm sorry. Where's Kevin? Kevin asleep, Connie? Coughing issues, Matthew? Well, I hope you don't have COVID. PH, my dad's in the hospital. Oh, I'm sorry. Hope it's not COVID, like I said, but I hope you heal up soon, sir. My wife's brother is in the hospital, but it's not COVID. He's in ICU. He's not really a brother. He's more of an adoptive brother because my wife is an only child. But they grew up together from a young age. They were in elementary school, basically. But I have someone I like to nominate for serial killer trivia, Robert Durst. I will write it down, Cement Shoes. Robert Durst, the whack-a-nut himself. Just remember, if you're going to confess, turn the microphone off. Jennifer Cheney, hello from Georgia. Well, good morning from Georgia. I'm glad you could be here this morning. You got to take off, Joshua? Karen Cato, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Was born in Marietta, Georgia. Matthew was. You live in Arizona now, Matthew? You got family in Arizona. I don't ever get to see them. Used to be able to, but then this COVID, pretty much closed everything down. Later today. Oh, you need to go get the vaccine? Both Durst and Carol Baskin learned a lesson. when you get away with murder, don't press your luck on doing documentaries. Carol effing Baskin. There's a name that I didn't think I was going to hear again. And that and Joe Exotic and that entire, Tiger King saga. I didn't follow it as closely as I could. I followed it enough though. But Robert Durst, though, there's a lot there on Robert Durst. I'm sure we could definitely do a trivia night on him, when his life. He's kind of like the, what do they call it? Eclectic individual. So don't forget to hit that like button. Appreciate it. Yep, hard to travel now. Oh, Joshua's job is making it a requirement that he gets the COVID shots. He's so overplayed, Robin. I got my mom one of those hoodies that says "Good morning" to everyone except that bitch Carol Baskin. That's cool. That's funny. The other one I thought about doing, a stream on, trivia night is Phil Spector. In one of the notebooks, I have to find it. I have a whole bunch of trivia questions that I started because I've got ones on states trivia. Dumb laws in different states. I got one of those that's already completed. And I've got several others on killers and true crime trivia, but I don't have one on Durst. Do you make merch? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. This is for the podcast that me and my wife do, the taco podcast. You can't see the back, but it's got a giant taco on it. But yeah, the link is in every single one of my videos. If you just go click on a video and then scroll down to the description on any video, there's a link to each and every to the fan store. Hold on a second. I'll actually post it here in this. I have to actually get it. Don't have it sitting here. I should, but I don't. Oh, where's the stores? And there's Caleb's. There's the Patreon. All right. Well, hopefully one of those links work. I don't know if one of them's live or not. First one's PayPal. The Teespring store is 411/now Taco Podcast store. I hope that's a clickable link, but I don't know. All the TV channels are talking about 9/11 today. Francie, good morning. And yes, today is the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Yeah, I was asked if I would do a video on memorial for it. I don't feel like that would be something that would. It's not that I don't care. and I don't remember. It's just I wish to remember in a different way. I actually know somebody. I lost. Well, my friend's dad was in tower number 2. And he lost his life that day, and it greatly affected their entire family. And as the tragedy affected a lot of families. But I just didn't feel like it was something that I had enough insight on that I could make a video about it. So I decided myself not to do a memorial video for it. Yeah. Doesn't it sound wrong, Robin? It time goes by just like that. It's your nephew's 6th birthday. Well, happy birthday to your nephew. Your uncle was in the Pentagon when it happened. He didn't know he was alive until he called us. You didn't know he was alive after midnight that day. Yeah, the day of the 9/11 attacks. I've told people this before. I've shared my story of where I was, what I was doing. I was obviously all the way across the United States from New York, in Washington State, to be exact. I wasn't even on land that day. The company that I worked for, my buddy's company, that I worked for, it was a chemical plant. They made fertilizer and pest control, weed control products. But he every year he used to send the guys who worked in the plant because there's a production time in the year. It's like where everything is booming and you can't get a moment's rest. But right around the beginning of September, everything starts to slow down. So he used to send us all to either fishing or on some kind of trip. So we'd all have to go together. We couldn't take our spouses or kids. It had to just be the people who worked in the plant itself. But we were out salmon fishing the day of 9/11, and we came into where we both the charter company that had us out there salmon fishing. We came into the docks, and the parking lot is empty in the middle of the afternoon. We're like, where the hell is everybody? Gone. And we're like, okay. And we walk across the parking lot, and there's a Denny's there, and there's no one in the Denny's. There's just a sign on the counter that says "Leave money on counter." There's nobody there. So we made our own food. We went in the back, made our own food because there's no place else to eat except for the motel and a gas station. That's all that's there in this little tiny town. It's more of a pit stop, places where people fuel up their boats as they're going to go out to obviously the ocean for fishing. I can't remember the name of the town is, but it's right up by the Canadian border. But we were out fishing in 9/11 and tried to use our cell phones. Nothing worked that day because all the cell phone lines were down because people were jamming them up by calling loved ones and trying to find out what's going on. My grandmother told me about Kennedy being assassinated from the milkman back in the '63. She thought he was goofing with her. Good morning, Deb. Pip-a-dop. Good morning. Trust me, when I'm old, when you feel the weather, you're old. Yeah, Robin. You're old when the music you grew up on that you enjoyed as a teenager is now on the classic rock or the oldies station, or they start playing it in the mall and they've removed all the lyrics and it's now being done on a piano. Yes, you're getting old then. At this point in my life, my warranty, as my wife says, has expired. That's when you're old. When your body, aches when the weather changes. I feel it every day. I skipped school that day because I wasn't feeling well. My mom came in and said that the plane accidentally hit one of the World Trade Center buildings. Then a little while later, a second one hit. Wow, you skipped school that day. Classic rock is the best. We must be getting old, Jennifer. Yeah, none of us get out of this life alive. We do the best we can with what we have. Make every day count. In November of 1978, you were 2 years old, 78. So choose, a lot younger than me. Yeah, right. When your daughter's music is classic rock. Be careful. She might try to trade in for a newer model. I asked her that, one day. I said, you can. Well, I think it was on my 50th birthday. I said, you could trade me in for 225s. And she looked at me and she said, "Oh, honey, it took me 25 years just to get you to where you are now, and you're not even finished yet." Joshua was a sophomore in high school in 9/11. All I remember is how angry I was that day. Seemed like the world stood still. It was so surreal. It was impossible to get, the news that was running 24 hours a day was how America was under attack from outside sources. The two, towers had fallen. The Pentagon had been attacked. There was another plane that went down, was it Pennsylvania or wherever? And it just everywhere you looked, you didn't know where the next thing was going to happen. It was happening on the East Coast. Is it going to happen on the West Coast, Midwest? Where is it going to happen next? And it didn't, everything was just like they were trying to report on it as fast as possible. But it was a really bizarre day. A day that I hope never happens again. Deb, I was at work the day the work a day world for me in 9/11 hit. Hey, Kayla, it's so much fun to train your husband. I remember when they halted all air travel on 9/11. Oh, that's true, Gail. And the West Coast, we do definitely have enough problems the way it is. But we were up salmon fishing, and we were supposed to be there through that entire weekend. And I think we were only like on day 3, and we are supposed to be. This whole thing is supposed to be 6 days, but the 2 of those 6 days is travel days, so it's actually 4 days of fishing. But that was it for us. The guy who was running the charter company is like, "Nope, not going back out again. This is as good as it gets." So we ended up with an entire ice chest full of salmon. It's really cool because they vacuum packed it right on the boat. The salmon, they cut it up and everything. So you just take it home and you got a salmon steak. We had so much fish for 3 guys. There's 12 guys in total, but 3 guys would go, 3 guys would go, and 3 guys, so you couldn't just send all 12 of us in one trip. So you'd go one weekend, and then the next 3 would go, and then the next 3 would go, and until we got all 12 of them. They used to do that every year for us. Send us on one of these trips. It was actually cool because we lived there basically on the property. And they had a little apartment. They had a bedroom, they had a kitchen, a bathroom, shower, stuff like that right there on the property because we had to be there 24 hours a day to load and unload, semis, and to make more of what we were making. And there's only so much you could do because that we sold the stuff as far away as Montana, all the way down to California, into San Diego, anywhere where there's any kind of farming and agriculture. They used to make products for it. So, but he since has sold the company off. He sold it to United Chemical. It's like a huge company that makes fertilizer and pesticides and stuff like that, for the world. But he sold them off to them. He's an extraordinarily wealthy man now. I always wondered what he was going to do next, and he still hasn't done anything at all. He did just a little philanthropy here and there, but he's enjoying his easier years of not having to worry about money or work. Did you cook your salmon at Denny's? No, Francie. We took it all home. They put it in they give you a cooler. They vacuum seal it in the little packages, and then they put it's like salmon, dry ice. There's there's something between dry ice and the actual salmon. I want to say it was like cardboard, but it's made out of like plastic. But then so it's a layer of fish, plastic, dry ice, plastic, salmon. So it's actually fills up the cooler itself. And then you just take it home like that. And then we got there when we finally did get home. We divided it up, one for you, one for me, one for you, one for me. Because there's no way to tell who caught what fish, unless you wanted to keep a whole fish. And then they'd just gut it and they'd write your name on the plastic. Otherwise, that, and I took home a whole freezer bag of vacuum sealed of fish heads. Because my sister's family, they're of Filipino descent, and they love to make fish eye soup, and they boil the entire head, and they make as part of the broth to make the soup. So I brought the fish heads for them. So I was working for a payroll company, and shipping the next week worth of paychecks was stopped for a while due to airlines being shut down. It was a mess. Robin hates Denny's. I don't like the one that I have locally, but that's just the local one to me. The quality of and the cleanliness of the place has gone downhill. I think if that's more of the new owner than anything at all. Not everything against the company itself. It's not something I would seek out. But you can, the Denny's that is in New Jersey, and the food that's on that menu you can find in West Palm Beach. The same. I don't know if there's a Denny's there, but I'm just saying, same menu basically. Things were a mess for us here in the U.S. 9/11. I didn't see any raccoons growing up in Newfoundland. Growing up, we used to see raccoons all the time, and the males, you can tell the difference between a male and female just by spotting them. The males get big; they get really big, and they're mean as hell. But we used to see raccoons all the time. That and possums. Oh, you love Theo Vaughn? He is funnier than hell. I saw Theo a couple of years back. It was right around the time that he was having issues with his brother. It's probably even longer than that, a couple of years ago. Maybe it was 4 years ago. Oh yeah, there's a Denny's here in West Palm Beach. We'll see. They're everywhere. We have two chains that, well, they used to be around here. Apparently, a lot of they've closed a lot of their stores. That is called Sherry's. It's kind of like a Denny's, and they've really gone after their freshly made pies, and stuff like that, But I don't like those kind of places. I don't like when it comes to like breakfast food. That's the only time I would ever go there is for breakfast. But We have other places that we enjoy a heck of a lot more that are locally. I don't know if they have them anywhere else. They're called Sterling restaurants chain, but they have really good food. Denny's is always good. I love Cracker Barrel. We don't have any Cracker Barrels here, unfortunately. We did, but they closed down years ago. I think they didn't. They just didn't want to. They weren't making it in this market because the market where I live is highly saturated by other chains. It's really hard to open even a burger restaurant here because the national chains of they've just they've just absorbed everything. So a lot of smaller local restaurants and stuff like that, they they get by, and what they do is they're more mobile. So they have mobile food trucks, and they cater. So they found that little niche where the national chain restaurants won't ever get into. Bob Evans gives enough food. I haven't been to a Bob Evans restaurant in a long time. My mom got bit by In-N-Out. The fudge cake is heaven. We don't have one anymore. Yeah, I wish we still had a Cracker Barrel here. I like their food. We have national chains of like buffet restaurants. We've got just about everything, and not here in the city I live in. The city I live in is more of a bedroom community, and a lot of government contractors, for work. You have to go to one of the nearby cities to actually, go out and eat. There are some smaller places here and there, scattered amongst all the businesses, but nothing. There's no large restaurant chains here except for Burger King and McDonald's and Wendy's. Cracker Barrel gift shop. You had a pet raccoon? Oh, don't ever tell my wife that, Robin. My wife has always wondered and I try telling her just how mean the suckers are. She's always wanted a pet raccoon or a pet skunk. Don't have a Bob's Big Boy or Sony's here anymore. Bob Big Boy, we used to have one. Bob Big Boy is that the Bob Big Boy closed down, and Bob Big Boy later became it was Shakey's Pizza, and then it became a check cashing store. Now it's a head shop. Yeah, that's cool. Start by that they let RVs park there overnight. You have to go try the Cracker Barrel gala. It's actually, at least all the times I've ever been to Cracker Barrel, it's been really good food. I have to go get groceries. It's been nice listening. Wanted to say goodbye instead of just leaving. Have a great weekend, everyone. You too, Sarah. And thank you for stopping in today. And I hope you have a terrific weekend. Stay safe out there. The town over from us, we have Five Guys burgers, and there's a Long John Silver, Taco Bell. I'm just trying to remember, the different restaurants. They're all around a giant shopping center. Well, thank you for the super sticker, Sarah. I really appreciate that. COVID has ruined so many good places. Yeah, we're actually sliding back. Now, because of COVID, you have to mask up when you go anywhere. And a lot of indoor restaurants and bars have closed. The inside services. So now you're pushed back outside. You are social distanced 6 feet from each and every table. You know, I think we had 984 people who tested positive for the Delta just on Thursday of this week. So just under 1,000 in a population of 23,000. Yeah, that's not good. And it's just going, it's shooting through the roof. The spike. With their hands. That's cool. There's a video online that I'm sure you can find it on YouTube, and it has a magpie, the bird, and it's drinking water out of a bottle. All right, and it drinks all the water that it can actually get out of the bottle, and then you see the magpie go over, pick up rocks, drop them into the water until the water level rises, and then it drinks more, and then it picks up another rock and it actually puts it into the bottle until the water rises up until it can actually drink the water again. This is a magpie. It's a bird. You know, you can't train a bird. Well, I guess you could train a bird to do it, but and this is in the wild. They didn't think that that birds had the capacity, intelligence to actually do certain things like that. And there's also pictures, and video online. You can see an ape who is spearfishing. Yeah, it watched a human do it and learned that a human could get fish that way. So the ape, repeated the same process. Got a stick and actually caught fish. Never been to Five Guys, but it sounds good. It's okay. I'm not impressed with the for the dollar for how much it costs to go to Five Guys and and for a burger and fries and stuff. I'd rather go to In-N-Out, but don't have an In-N-Out anywhere near me. I'd rather go to a White Castle. Yeah, I know people put the White Castle burgers down, but I love them. But the nearest one to me is in Las Vegas, Nevada. So that's quite a long ways to go get some White Castle. I mean, I can get them in the freezer section at Costco, but they're not the same. Would love to see that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could find it if you Google it on YouTube. Let's see if I can find it. Ape spear fishing. Well, there's the Joe Rogan podcast where he's got the video in it. There it is. Sorry, it's a chimpanzee. And there's also another video of an orangutan doing the same thing. But Joe Rogan has got the one of the ape. He's got the video of the ape. I don't see it anywhere else on YouTube. So you can just Google ape spearfishing, and there's an orangutan, a chimpanzee, and an ape who've all learned to do the same thing. With all these delays, what take on Chad's speedy trial? Any thoughts on Lori? Well, on Lori, I think she's faking it. Either that or she has been insane her entire life, because she has always manipulated everyone to get everything that she's always wanted. You go back to her very first husband, she manipulated him until, even though they was a short marriage, but she manipulated him and everybody else. She's always gotten people to do her dirty work for her. She's always manipulated people into getting exactly what she wanted. So I don't buy the fact that she's, mentally incompetent to aid in her own defense, and unless she's been insane her entire life. That's the only other way that could be. I think she's read up on it. She's practiced it, and she knows it to the T. She knows what to say, what not to say, and I think it's going to be short order that they're going to see through it. I don't think they're going to have to carry this out for an indefinite period of time to make her competent. Chad, the delays to a speedy trial, since they're most likely, they're going to get the death sentence for him killing Tammy. And they know that now, apparently, even by his own kids' admission in their 48-hour interview, they said that they were told that by the authorities that their mother died of asphyxiation. But then they also said that they were lied to by the police. That's what the police do. They have the right to lie to you, to try to get you to talk, to confess, to tell them what you know. But they said that their mother was asphyxiated. That was the cause of death. Now, what does asphyxiation mean? What's that definition? Is that real? I don't know. We'll find out once the autopsy report is ever released on Tammy. And I don't think it's going to get released until the trial starts, and then we'll find out then. But was she poisoned? And that, and then she aspirated to the contents, and that's what made her, die. She died of asphyxiation that way. Did Chad hold a pillow over her head and suffocate her? Anything's possible. We'll find out though eventually. Here in upstate, we have a place called Tom Walls. It's a throwback to the 50s. Great food. That's cool. I also believe that Aiden Fauci is also fake and being crazy. I'm right there with you on that, Gala. I watched his bizarre behavior, and I actually had my wife and her professor. He's actually a close friend of the family, but I had him look at it. And both of them said it's very disturbing the way he's acting. They're, speaking about he doesn't want demons to steal his soul. And all he wants to do is talk to his mommy and daddy. These are very, troubling things. If somebody very well could have coached him, just said, look, just go in there, act like you're lost, and say some bizarre things. But there is a chance, though, that he very well may have a mental health issue, that it's in his past. But I doubt it, though. To me, it looks like he's faking it. He's trying for an insanity defense. I have more issues with the fact that he's 14 years old. Yes, he's guilty. If he's guilty and he really did kill his classmate, and may God, her soul be, rested in heaven. But he's 14 years old. If we're gonna, they're gonna try him as an adult. I have a real problems with trying juveniles, for adult crimes. Yeah, if he did it, it's horrific. But at 14 years of age, his brain is not developed yet to make long-term consequences and understand his actions are long-term. Well, I know a lot of 14-year-olds, and I know what a 14-year-old boy is like because hell, I was 14 once. If I had to live with forever with the consequences of the decisions that I made when I was 14, wouldn't be here. I certainly hell wouldn't be here doing this. But I have problems with that though, and that's just me though. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it wrong. If he really did kill her, he should pay for it. But does that mean that we should seek the death penalty, an eye for him? That's the way that the population has voted, is they want him to pay. for what he did. If that means, a death sentence, and give him the death, put a needle in his arm, get rid of him. Is there any chance of, he could be rehabilitated? I don't know. When it comes to incarceration, we don't really rehabilitate anymore. We just, we lock people away. And if we give him a 25-year sentence, what kind of person will he be, at the age of 39 when he's released, if he serves out an entire 25-year sentence? So, Will, how many times did his 13-year-old victim get stabbed? All right. 1 second here. I have that written down here. One of my note cards. According to Greg Hanlon with ABC Channel 7 out of Jacksonville, Tristan Bailey was stabbed 114 times. 114 times. Most places have been reporting that it's 100 or 100 and something, but he by far he says it's 114. But it's Greg Hanlon, Hanlon. He's a reporter with ABC Channel 7 out of Jacksonville. But then there's also the statements that he made to friends, prior to actually killing her, that he was thinking about, dragging someone off into the woods and killing them. $114 times. Yep. It's how many times Tristan Bailey. Tristan. I think that's how you pronounce it, right? I don't have my other cards here. Tristan. Tristyn. Tristan Bailey. So it's premeditated. I have zero sympathy for Aiden. I don't have any sympathy for him either, Gayla. It's just I have a problem with, this trying a juvenile for an adult crime, especially when we know in science that their brains are not fully developed. Does that mean that we execute someone for a crime that they did not have the mental capacity to be able to, think about the long-term consequences? That's the only issue I have with it. I think he's guilty as hell. I think he's faking it. His mental incompetency is at this time. I really do. Did you hear the latest? Daughter might be involved in disposing of Gannon's body. No, I have not. Tristan says cement shoes. They will not execute him. Good morning, Very Mary. The brutal crime, I agree with you on that. Well, it's a rough one. Well, if they don't execute him, Gayla, what kind of sentence should they, would be inappropriate for it? Should life without the possibility of parole? I mean, I'm not advocating that we just slap him on the wrist and keep him until he's 18 and then release him. I mean, I don't think that would be an appropriate sentence for if he's found guilty of the crime. I think if he is found guilty of the crime, and we're able to prove that he wasn't mentally incompetent at the time of it, and throw all that aside, I think an appropriate sentence would be 25. And let him out when he's 39, as long as we're able to prove that he is mentally competent and not a risk to reoffend. But I don't think locking him away forever or executing him is the right call, because he was 14 years old at the time he committed the crime. Now, mine and my wife's friend, was murdered by another person we know. He got 18 years for the crime for murder in the first degree, and he did 18 years. He actually his sentence was longer, but he got good time off of that, so he was actually supposed to be released in 18 years. But of course, he's a complete dumbass, and when he was in prison, he was convicted of several other crimes while in prison. So he ended up doing almost the entire 20, 25 years, almost somewhere in there. But he's out on the street walking around right now as I speak in my community, in the community I live in. And I've been asked before, if I ever see him and I came across him, what would I do? I wouldn't, jeopardize my life and my family's life for, to seek, retribution upon his dumb ass. But I'd make sure that maybe he slipped and fell. Did you see that video, Sarah? Of him and his friend in the back of the squad car? And he throws up the peace sign, and and what did he say? Has anybody seen Tristan lately? Joking like that? That's messed up. Yeah, OJ. But the glove didn't fit, Gayla, so you have to acquit. Paid his way out of that one. I still feel sorry, and that's got to be hard for the Goldman family, and for his Nicole's wife, Nicole's family as well. Because everybody knew OJ paid his way out of that one. Enough money, buy your ass out of a lot of situations in this world. OJ, isn't that funny though? So he gets acquitted of on the murder charges, and then he gets arrested for stealing his own shit back. But what were they thinking? Showing up to steal his stuff back with guns. That's where they fucked up. I'm sorry for my language. They really screwed up there. The glove shrank after drying. Well, I mean that, and if you try to put a glove on with your hands, fingers spread open like that, yeah, of course it wouldn't fit. I don't think he is all there. It looked like they were two kids on a leisure stroll when he was walking her to her death. Poor girl. Karma, right? In the end, OJ will pay. You'll be right back, Cement Shoes. So here's the part that I don't understand is OJ Simpson. He had to sell his Heisman Trophy. He had to sell some of the other stuff to take care of the civil trial, case, from the Goldman family to pay them. But he still has his place in the history books, and people are still going to Hall of Fame career. And then there's people like Pete Rose, who has been barred from baseball, still holds the record, and probably will hold the record for forever, for the most hits. And he's not in the Hall of Fame because they said that Pete gambled on baseball. Huh. Okay. They never were able to prove that he gambled on the team when he was a player or a manager, but he gambled on baseball. But he's not in the Hall of Fame. He didn't even kill anybody. You kill someone, I guess you can still be in the Hall. But if you gamble on something, nope, lifetime ban. Lifetime. Do not let him into the Hall of Fame. Don't understand that. hard labor in Angola prison, Angola penitentiary. He was also arthritic. I've seen people who are arthritic do some amazing stuff, though. OJ had connections. I wouldn't want her as my babysitter either, Robin. From a distance, Casey is a fixture at that. Casey Anthony. You know, it's amazing. It is amazing that she is able to walk around, and be free. Sarah. She didn't miss her baby when she was she was alive. She wasn't much of a mother. Her grandmother, Casey's mother, was more of a parent, to her daughter than she was. She wanted to party. Her daughter was just something that got in the way. I mean, look at what she was doing with supposedly, the nanny, babysitter, how she blamed it, that she was the one that did it. She didn't care. She was out partying. She's like Norm from Cheers, that frequent in that pub. She's also a private investigator too. She has her own private investigator business. But according to her friend, she's not going to solve the case of who killed her daughter. She's not going to do that as a private investigator. No, because she knows exactly who did that. She can't find the missing nanny who killed her daughter because she doesn't exist. She still lives with the PI from her trial. What's Casey Anthony up to nowadays? Francine, she's a private investigator. She's partying her life up. She's enjoying everything, and she actually there was an article that came out from a friend of hers in an interview, or made statements to the fact that Casey wants to have another family. She wants to have more children. She wants to move forward with her life and put this all behind her. Her fifth. Hey, good morning, Kevin. I was wondering where Kevin was this morning. Were you still sleeping? But Kevin wants to join, but he's having technical difficulties. Well, Colleen, what you need to do is you need to take your hand off of his. Don't choke him out. And then the technical difficulties will fix themselves. Just remember, this shall pass. Whatever he did to upset you, just remember, it will pass. Oh, you're working? Like you're not even at home? Who would call her to investigate anything? Right? Of all the jobs that she's decided that she wants to do. Yeah. Exactly. The known liar, Casey Anthony. How would you investigate anything? right up her alley. Excuse me. Short nights. I watched the Casey Anthony case on TV. Nancy Grace. Guess I wasn't into YouTube then, or was there a YouTube? Oh, there was. I think there was a YouTube. I mean, I've been on YouTube since 2009. Is when I actually opened up my first channel. The very first two videos I ever did was I was kind of poking fun at my friend. He really loves Leonard Cohen's music. So I did a kind of a collage video, and that was back in 2009. I never thought about opening a channel and doing what I'm doing now. Back then, that wasn't even a remote thought. But I made a video where it was an animated video of like him dancing with Leonard Cohen to his one of Leonard's songs. Cohen rocks. Yeah. I'm more of a Tom Waits fan though. Anybody ever listen to Tom Waits? Chocolate Jesus. I love that raspy, voice of Tom Waits. Diarrhea. Chocolate Jesus. Lou Reed. Lou Reed's good. Have you seen Tom Waits in the movie Seven Psychopaths? No, I have not. I have not seen Seven Psychopaths. I didn't know Tom was in that either. I mean, I've seen that, I know on his IMDb page, he's done little bit roles here and there, different movies and TV shows. A lot of stuff that he's done, he is uncredited because he's just like a bit player. I know there was one episode of 90210, the TV series, about the kids living in the zip code of 90210. But he's actually he did a bit one where he's actually in the coffee shop where he's standing over to like the left hand side next to where you pump your creamer or something into coffee, but he's just standing there. And I'm like, I had no idea it was in there until somebody sent me a screenshot of it. I was like, oh my God. And there he is. And he's wearing one of his own t-shirts. Tom Waits wearing one of his own t-shirts. It's a black and white t-shirt of that he used to sell. But I know he was in that, but he's uncredited. It was just an extra in the background. I guess maybe he was in the area, and when they were filming it, decided, what the hell? Might as well do it. Very Mary, sorry I missed you. See it, crazy movie, but I loved it. I will. Write it down so I don't forget it. Sam Rockwell is my husband. He just doesn't know it. Colin Farrell, Sam Rockwell, and Woody. So many. Woody Harrelson? I'll definitely look it up. I'm pretty sure I could probably stream it off of Amazon because we have Amazon Prime. I never use it for music or for movies. He's the old guy on the boat with when Natalie Woods died. Who's the old guy who was on the boat when Natalie Woods died? I don't know. Love Woody and Cheers. Natural Born Killers, Woody Harrelson in that. Or was it Zombieland with Woody Harrelson? His entire mission is to find Twinkies. Twinkies and toilet paper. Wasn't it Robert something? He was an actor. Robert Wagner. There it is right there. Sorry if I already had it. I'm trying to. I'm like, oh, I don't know what that is. Was he an old guy then? Walken? Christopher Walken? I'm definitely going to have to look that movie up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have to take off here. I wanted to say thank you to everyone for stopping in this morning. Now, remember, tomorrow night, we have it's general crime trivia tomorrow night at 7 p.m. 30 questions, all multiple choice, displayed on the screen with 4 possible answers to each and every question. But that's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So adjust your clocks accordingly. Maybe set an alarm, because I don't know if the notifications are going to go out again. That's YouTube land for you. But that's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. And I want to thank everybody again. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend and stay safe out there. And those who sent the super stickers and the super chats, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So again, everyone, bye and stay safe.